Breaking news of a mother who has taken to TikTok to get help in finding her kidnapped son after his father was convicted as a serial killer in Egypt. Yes, this is all real. This is not a fictional story. This is a mother desperately searching for her son and fears that he is in danger just like she was. So let's help her find Zayn Karim. You are such a genuine gem. Thank you for clicking on my video. I am Brooke Makenna, and today's case is truly one that has just recently come out, especially in the United States. It has been happening for at least a few months, at least back until May in Egypt when this serial killer was finally caught. We're going to go over his case, exactly what he did and what her connection to this man was. He was her ex-husband, but she kind of dives into what she had to go through while she was married to him and even after, because they did have a son together. But now that he is in custody, she still does not have her son and is begging for help because he could possibly be in the States. So this is just a really urgent case, and I will have all the links down below that you need. There is a GoFundMe to help out. There's her TikTok. And so I hope that this brings some awareness to this case, because that is what she is asking for at this moment. Very important. So I'm so happy and thankful that I came across this on TikTok, and I'm thankful for her for speaking out, even though this is not something that she ever wanted to do. So let's go ahead and get into the story. So Lobna Yakow is a 33-year-old mother who took to TikTok just 6 days ago to ask for help in regards to finding her kidnapped son. You see, Lobna would shockingly admit that she had been married to 37-year-old Karim Salim, who has just been convicted as a serial killer. Now, these two had married in 2014 while living in Egypt, and they kind of moved around a lot. They had a son named Zayn, who they actually had in the States in Michigan, but they separated in 2012 after 7.5 years together.
So I was married to a serial killer for 7.5 years. So basically the serial killer, he tried to kill me many times. He tried to kill my sister many times. And then he got caught with 3 bodies in his apartment in a torture chamber. And he's very known in Egypt and the Arab world. And this was recent. This was like 7 months ago. So he had kidnapped my son from me 3 years ago. And anytime I tried to get him, he would basically try to kill me and try to ruin my life and try to find me. Like, I'd be at places and he'd just show up and I'd have to run. And it was just a flipping nightmare. So finally, when he got caught this May, end of May, they locked him up. He's gonna get hung very soon, hopefully. But the problem is, whenever he got locked up, he told the police that I was dead. So his mom took my son, and till now it's been 7 months. I haven't seen my son, haven't heard from my son. She's kidnapped him. I filed all police papers, all court papers. I have full custody. I have educational custody. I have every single right. I just could not find this woman. So I just need the English world to hear my story, because very soon I'm going to be on a big channel, like something very big that we all have in our house. And you're going to hear my story. But I really hope before that happens, I get my son back, which I'm dying, honestly. I'm like dying to see him. I'm dying to talk to him again. I just need as much exposure as possible. And this lady might be in America. She might be still in Egypt. But who knows? Who knows? I need to find her. And I need everyone's help as much as possible. If you go to my older videos, you'll find pictures of my son. I have put pictures of her there. So if you want to take a look, and if anyone can help me, if any media sources can help me to get my story out there, to help me find my son that I have full rights to, please help me.
But Karim, her ex-husband, was an English teacher in Egypt. He had graduated in the United States, and he actually had dual citizenship in America and in Egypt. He also had built a TikTok following around this time of around 630,000 followers for his videos. He went by Kareem Fox, or Hooked on Phonics, and he taught English. He even featured their son Zayn in some of his videos. I will play a few right now.
How do you say this word? Exquisite.
Exquisite.
It means very pretty. And this one? Ecstatic.
Ecstatic.
It means very happy. Now give this one a shot.
Say, I don't get it. Don't say, I'm sorry. Say, I apologize.
Gotta. I gotta go.
Out of.
Outa. I'm out of time. Speak English faster.
Give me.
Gimme. Give me that back.
Let me.
Lemme. Let me have something.
Want to.
Wanna. I wanna go home.
But what Lobna, his ex-wife, didn't know, or possibly what she didn't want to think about, was that he was capable of murder. Lobna moved to the UK in 2022 after they had separated, and it was found that the next year, on November 15th of 2023, her ex-husband Kareem murdered who was believed to be his first victim, and 2 more would follow on April 8th and May 15th of 2024. This is a very recent case. His first victim was found on a desert road in Somalia, and the next was found in Port Said. Now, investigators found that they had very similar injuries. They believed to be killed in the same way, possibly had the same killer. So Major General Mohammed Abdu Amra had formed a task force to investigate these 3 murders who were believed to be connected. And with surveillance footage found of a man coming and going from these dumping grounds, they were able to identify Kareem Salim. On May 24th of 2024, Kareem was arrested on suspicion of murder as investigators identified this killer, and they had tracked him to this new Cairo apartment, and he attempted to actually escape. He got into a vehicle and a chase began, but they did end up catching him. Now, Kareem had been living abroad for a few years, and he had recently come back to Egypt for about a year and got this apartment in New Cairo and had this luxurious car. He was a single divorced man, but inside of this apartment was horror. Investigators would find a soundproofed room, and security at the apartment claimed that he often frequented the apartment late at night with lots of different women. The property owner claimed that Kareem had asked him several times to install sound insulation so that he wouldn't be disturbed. CCTV footage near the apartment caught women entering and exiting the apartment often. Now, pretty quickly, Kareem would confess to the murders, explaining that his victims were all sex workers. He met them all on the street or in the nightclubs or on the internet to perform acts for money. He said that sometimes he would have relationships with these women and he would bring them to his apartment. They would spend a romantic night together, and then on the second date is when he would kill them. He would use his soundproofed room to drown out their screams. He would tie them up, assault them, beat them, and force them to take substances so that they couldn't feel the pain. He would put their bodies in his car and then he would dump them. During this interrogation, Kareem was said to be in a state of nervous agitation, and he began trying to claim insanity, saying that he was being controlled. However, soon after saying that, he continued with his confession with elaborate details on exactly what he did. He said that his first victim was a 27-year-old woman who worked as a housewife and was lured for sex and drug use. He then assaulted her, strangled her, put her body in a suitcase, and threw her out on the road. The second victim was a 19-year-old whom he lured through Facebook. She had lived with him for a period of time in exchange for money, but he ended up strangling her on May 8th of 2024 and dumped her body 5 days later. The third victim was thrown out on the desert area of Cairo Road, and the forensic reports showed that in all of these victims, they had the same drugs in their systems. I do want to mention here that some of the sources that I used were in Arabic due to this being over in Egypt, so if I do get translations a bit wonky, I do apologize. I will have all of the sources linked down below, and if you do speak Arabic or can read Arabic, I would love your help in finding any further information and putting it in the comments down below. But when Kareem's phone and laptops were seized, phone records and location data confirmed all 3 confessions and where he was at the days of when he said that he dumped the bodies. Now, recordings made by Kareem were also located, showing that he had not only recorded the murders, but the sexual of the corpses. He alleged, though, that there were actually more victims, possibly 6 victims instead of the 3 that he was being charged with. He said he often committed his crimes on sex workers because they were easy, because nobody asked about them. While he was being charged with these crimes, investigators began to work to identify the other possible victims, combing through missing persons reports in Cairo, Alexandria, Giza, and as the news broke, the media began referring to this man as the thug of the Fifth Settlement, which is where he lived or where his apartment was, or the New Cairo slaughterer, or the women's slaughterer, or the New Cairo serial killer. Now, he was detained for 15 days pending investigation, and meanwhile, his ex-wife was demanding the return of their son to her, as he had allegedly been kidnapped by the serial killer's mother.
I was married to a serial killer for 7.5 years. If you haven't already heard my story, please check out my profile. So the serial killer's mother kidnapped my son after the serial killer got locked up. Y'all were asking me for a picture of Zayn. This is Zayn. His name is Zayn Karim. I feel like this is real life. He's right beside me right now. It's so sad. It's spelled Zayn Karim. He is beautiful, handsome, kind, amazing young boy. Beautiful long eyelashes. He's the type of child that holds the door open for you, treats you like a queen. He's such an amazing boy. I need him back in my life ASAP. If anyone knows his location, if anyone knows how to find him, his kidnapper's name is Hanan, Hanan. Sadaka, Sadaka. If anyone can locate them, please let me know. He's either in Egypt or in America, specifically Michigan. If anyone, please DM me for any information. If you see my son, DM me, call the authorities, because I need him back as soon as possible.
In June 2024, the trial began in Egypt, and it was one big courtroom drama. Karim was being charged with murder, possession, trafficking, human trafficking, and Karim's first lawyer announced that he was actually withdrawing from representing him because Karim was now denying the charges and recanting the confessions that he had made. The prosecution claimed that he had already taken them back to the apartment, reenacted the murders for them, and even gave them the location of the and he also brought out some personal belongings of one of the victims as well. So with him now denying involvement, the prosecution was showing videos that he had filmed with the victims to the court, as well as CCTV footage of him on his way to and from the disposal of the bodies. So on September 12th of 2024, he was sentenced to death for torturing and killing 3 women. But this is not what this case is about, because Lobna Yakout took to TikTok to tell her story. 3 years prior, her serial killer ex-husband had taken their son from her. When he was arrested, he told police that Zayn's mother was dead, and so his mother actually got custody of Zayn. However, Lobna is alive and well and legally has full custody, which she has provided proof of to the public. The problem is she cannot find her ex's mother and her son. They are missing. Lobna would explain that she wasn't surprised when she heard about the murders. She had actually dealt with years of abuse from him, which is why she decided to leave. One time she said she went on his laptop and found a video that he filmed of himself and another girl in their apartment, and when she confronted him, he began to cry. But Lobna decided to leave, especially because Egyptian law does not criminalize domestic violence, so there was no use in her even reporting this to police. Lobna explained that he had tried to kill her many times, and finally in 2020 she left him, and she took their 5-year-old son at that point, Zayn, to a new home. But this didn't last long because Karim began to threaten her and her family, and then the next year in 2021 she agreed to have a father-son play date, basically, but Zayn was never returned to her. She remembers telling little Zayn before dropping him off, "If you're taken from me, find me." This was the last time she had seen her son, and within that year she found herself fleeing from Cairo. Karim knew where she lived and was actually waiting outside of her residence for 4 days with a knife. When he finally left, she got into a disguise and fled to the UK. She feared that he would kill her. Lobna told the interviewer that they had met in 2012 and they had met in Alexandria. She was out with her friends and he was coming to meet them, and that's how they got involved. And then they married in 2013. She was asked if the relationship had love between them, and she was saying that they were in the relationship for love, and the first year was love, but she was surprised by things after the marriage that began to change. She was asked if her father and mother approved of this marriage, and she was saying basically no, that they had an opinion and they didn't really like him. When asked how his treatment of her in the beginning was and how it changed, she was saying that in the beginning he stayed the same, but then about after a year, that is when he changed. She then was speaking about how he tried to kill her several times and kill her sisters as well. She said that they were everywhere, always following them, and that's why she ran, because if she hadn't run away, she would have been a victim. She would have been dead. She was unable to get her son back at this time, and Kareem would continue to send her messages, some that she actually posted on TikTok saying, "Hi, W word, tell the big W word that if she doesn't come out of hiding under a rock and answer me, then I swear to God I will come after you and get to her using you." Others said, "Answer me, you no good excuse for a filthy human. Are you scared or something? From what I hear, you think you're the big effing man around here. Huh, well, we gonna see how much of a man you really are. Answer me, you disgrace. If you don't answer, you will not be the only one to suffer in all this filth you've brought upon yourself." So while Lobna was in the UK, she learned about Kareem's crimes, and Egyptian investigators would actually call her, letting her know that he had been arrested. But Lobna didn't even believe this, thinking that Kareem was trying to set her up so that he could actually find her, so she would go back to Egypt and he could get to her. It was only days later, when she was watching the media, which confirmed this, that she knew it was real, and she was completely shaken, mainly because her son was still living with him. But for her, her abusive ex being arrested was the least of her worries. Lobna is now searching for the serial killer's mother who kidnapped her son and then vanished.
I was married to a serial killer for 7.5 years, and now his mom has kidnapped my son. I want all of you, you've all done so much so far, I want all of you to use your eyes the best you've ever used them before. So here we have Exhibit A, Hanan Sadaka, also known as Hanan El Shazli, and her husband. This is Yasser El Shazli. Okay, they're meant to live in Michigan, and they currently have my son. They've told him I'm dead. They told him I don't want him, and I've died in a car crash. Please, TikTok, I know we can do this. Help me find Zayn. If anyone's worked with her, if anyone's seen her, if anyone's served her at the shop, if anyone's even heard her name. My son's name is Zayn Karim, Zayn Karim. My TikTok family, let's do this, please. I need my son back for Christmas. I need my son back for New Year. Let's make this happen.
Egyptian authorities haven't done anything to help this mother find her son, and so she is doing this all on her own. Lobna says that Zayn was actually born in Michigan and has family there. So she believes that her ex-mother-in-law, who is Hanan Sadika, and her son are either in Michigan in the States or back in Egypt. She has quit her job, returned to Egypt, and has focused solely on getting her son back after 3.5 years of not seeing him. Lobna was explaining that she messages Zayn on his grandmother's phone every single day and every night, every time she wakes up and every time before she goes to bed. She never gets a reply. However, she can see that somebody has seen the messages. So here you can see how many messages she has sent with absolutely no reply. She said that she's been blocked on every single site like WhatsApp that she tries to message Zayn on, but she feels like she can't sleep or wake up without talking to Zayn. She said that even if he doesn't see them, God willing, he will at some point. And when asked if she had a message for Zayn, she said she did, and she would need to say it in English because that's what Zayn speaks.
Zayn, I'm never gonna stop looking for you until the day that I die. وأنا بجد I'm not gonna stop until my last breath.
She was saying she doesn't actually know what he looks like anymore, if he is as tall as her. She only knows what he looked like in the videos that were posted on the internet a few months ago. And so just like random people on the internet, she's just as much a stranger to her son as they are. In another interview, Lobna was saying that she wants to be with Zayn, and so she would do anything that her mother-in-law, Zayn's grandmother, wants. She will give her visits. Basically anything she requests, she will get. She just wants to see her son. She said that as soon as she gets him back, she plans to take him to the beach for some Mom Zayn time. That was their thing. They loved the beach. And she explained that about a week before he was taken, Zayn asked her for balloons and she bought them for him. But when they were walking around the shopping center, Zayn had another plan. He started high-fiving strangers and giving them those balloons. Zayn loved to make friends and be social, and he was just such a loving little boy. But this mother has not gotten to see her son, and this is no fault of her own. Lobna has actually opened a GoFundMe to help with the search, and she has said, "My name is Lobna, and I'm reaching out with a heavy heart and a desperate plea for help. 3 years ago, my life took an unimaginable turn when my ex-husband, Kareem Salim, who has now become known as the infamous New Cairo serial killer, kidnapped my son, Zayn. Kareem's reign of terror wasn't limited to his criminal acts. He also subjected my family and me to relentless threats. My sisters and I faced countless dangers as we fought to reclaim my son from his grasp. Eventually, I was forced to flee to the UK to protect myself and my family, leaving behind my life, job, and everything I knew. A few months ago, justice was served when Kareem was apprehended, found guilty of horrific crimes, and sentenced to death. However, the nightmare was far from over. His mother, Hanan Siddiqa, with her wealth and influential connections, seized my son and vanished. Despite me having official custody, Hanan's powerful network has made it incredibly difficult for me to find and retrieve my child. I've been rebuilding my life in UK, working hard to support myself and prepare for the day I could safely return to Egypt and get my baby back. When I finally received the news that it was safe for me to go back, I made a split decision to fly out with nothing but a single bag and my dwindling savings. Now I am completely out of funds, struggling to pay for legal representation and the resources needed to track down and bring my son back home. Zayn was only 6 when he was taken. He is now 9.5. Every day apart from him has been a painful ordeal, and I am determined to reunite with him as soon as possible. I am reaching out to ask for your support during this critical time. Your generosity will help cover legal costs, investigative expenses, and the immediate need for my ongoing fight for justice and reunification. Please help me bring my son back to his mother where he belongs. Any contribution, no matter how small, will make a difference and bring me one step closer to being reunited with Zayn. Your support means the world to me and will provide hope during this harrowing journey. Thank you for taking the time to read my story and for any help you can offer. With heartfelt gratitude, Lobna Yakout." Now, she actually updated this on November 1st to say that she hired a lawyer, and so she now has sole legal custody and full educational rights for Zayn, which means that she's the only one that can admit him to school. So Zayn is missing school because this kidnapper doesn't want to come forward and be caught. Lobna said that she actually went with the police to the kidnapper's address, which they had told the courts that they were living, and this turned out to be a false address. Lobna then hired a private investigator who found that Zayn's previous school that his dad had enrolled him in had been submitted false papers about his education history. Lobna has said that she doesn't speak the best Arabic, and she also did not want to show her face publicly, but she is doing so for her son. She's actually been on a few interviews in Egypt, which I will insert now. Lobna has said, "Someone help me. Someone stand up. Come with me, please. I finally reached the end. I may be joking and talking on the outside, but inside, I'm broken." But she's trying to get her story to an American audience due to the possibility that her son and kidnapper are in Michigan. Zayn has been told his mother is dead, so he has no idea that she is searching for him. We need to reunite this mother and son. Online sleuths actually found Hanan's address at 1958 Post Chase, Bloomfield, Michigan. But Lobna has answered back to this person saying that she is in hiding. She isn't actually there. So other online sleuths have said that she has an alleged LinkedIn profile where she is in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, though this is not confirmed to be her. So if you have seen Zayn or Hanan or have information about their whereabouts, please tell the authorities and let Lobna know through her social media. I will link her GoFundMe, her TikTok. Please help this mother find her son. Lobna has said that she fears for her son's life on the daily, and she fears that this family will kill her. She needs our support now more than ever. And this is a case that needs to be told, that needs to be spread. So I hope that you can do so in spreading this case and her story. I'm sending Lobna so much love and strength, and I just hope that she gets the help that she deserves in this, and that authorities end up helping her, and we get a tip line set up, and I hope that this reaches people in Michigan who can look out for them. But my biggest hope is that that little boy is safe and can be returned to his mother. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to speak up. Your voice is powerful enough, and I love you to absolute pieces. Okay, bye.